Every who down Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be head wasn't screwed in just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reasons of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But for whatever reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. They're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow it's Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow he knew. All the Who girls and boys wake bright and early. They rush for their toys and then oh the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Then Who's young and old would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. And they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing.
Welcome to Who Towers. Christmas Day is in our grasp. So long as we have hands to clasp.
They'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas scene, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made Santa Claus' hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick with his coat and his hat. I know just what Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found that stopped the old Grinch hat. The Grinch simply said, Don't find your reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread and he tied a bighorn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags, some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, Get up, and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay and snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. all the Who's will dream sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this stopped number one. The old Grinch claws hissed and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his hand to the fireplace flue where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are. You're as colored as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a fat banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I won't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the ice box. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the ice box as quick as a flash, while the Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You have too much in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given choice between the two of you, take the seasick crocodile. You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're a king of sinful thoughts. Your heart's a dead tomato splots with moist purple spots, Mr. Grinch. You're a three-decker sauerkraut toast sandwich and arsenic sauce. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee, and now grinned the Grinch. I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and started to shove. When he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, he turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got a bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought of a lie and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back and his fib for the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. You see me, Mr. Grinch, with a nausea super nice. You're a crooked jerky jockey and you drive a crooked horse, Mr. Grinch. Your soul is an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of rubbish imaginable, mangled up in tangled up knots. You're foul one, Mr. Grinch. You're nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks, your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. The three words that best describe you are flawless, and I quote, stink, stank, stunk. Then the last thing he took was a log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tacks and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings, 3,000 feet up. Up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode slow to the tip-top to dump it. Cuckoo to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. The mounts will hang up in a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville, we all cry. Boo-hoo. That noise grinked the Grinch that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why? This sound sounded merry. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. Grinch's Grinchfield, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. He puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch found something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the man's heart didn't feel quite so tight. He whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for a feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved a roast beast.